Welcome back to my pandemic garden. I'm Spencer, and this entire episode is about bringing water out to the garden. Got my compost over there. These are my beds. I've only planted just this section right here. We've got like radishes and greens and beets and stuff like that. And I've got my sink, my DIY sink set up, but as you can see, I've got no water. The other day I was out here digging, like seriously digging, and I guess I should show you some footage from that. My plan was to dig a monster hole down and tap into my municipal water source, tee off of it, and then run a frost-proof tap down at the garden. But that totally failed. I dug a 5-foot hole, did not tap into the water line, and kind of bailed on that idea. All right, so my plan B scenario is to run a line from the barn down to the garden and just do it in a shallower trench. It'll be one I have to blow out in the fall. And just note that this garden is gonna have a sort of redundant water system. So we're gonna have municipal source, a well source, and rainwater retention. And I'll talk about those in a future video. This one's just dedicated to getting the municipal water down to the garden.
The newspaper placards spelled out the story of coughs and sneezes which have emptied factories and offices and filled hospitals throughout the country.
Now this won't necessarily work out in every situation, but what I'm doing here, you probably saw, is just laying the sod on one side of the trench. That's on the first pass. Then I'll come back through on my second pass, deepen the trench, put the soil on the other side. That way, when I fill it back in, I can lay that sod on top nicely. It'll still have a lump and everything, because you know how trenches are, they kind of take a little while to fill in, but sod on one side, dirt on the other.
There's a staff of 48 to handle urgent requests for hospital beds.
And you'll see this in a minute, but I'm just using 3/4 inch packs underground. I've got kind of a mixed up array of stuff. I got some 1/2 inch, some 3/4 inch white, and some 3/4 inch blue that I'll just splice together. You know, the 3/4 inch stuff, bigger diameter, bigger flow. You could feasibly do 1/2 inch for a garden and be just fine, or you could just run a regular garden hose underground. In this case, I'm hoping my 3/4 brings a bit more flow down to the garden that's consistent with the rest of the water system, and then I can branch out in smaller lines and still maintain some pressure.
It's a time of trial as each hour brings more demands for ambulances and beds. Crowded scenes in chemists all over the country are commonplace. Prescriptions to fight the virus are keeping the dispensers working overtime.
I'm just coming through with the business end of this mattock and just deepening the trench a little bit and having it end in a kind of like a U shape. That way my pipe can just sit right in the bottom of it.
Another crisis resulting from this demand is the shortage of containers.
If this project is a reminder of anything in these crazy times we're living in, for me it's just that you can have so many expectations of how things are gonna go, and you can kind of live in that world of expectations, and poof, that whole scenario can just be changed really quickly. You know, I was expecting to rent a backhoe on a weekend, dig this trench 4 or 5 feet down, way below frost line, bring it down to the garden, and then use that machine that I rented to do other things on the property here. But those expectations became so real in my mind, it was almost like its own reality. And to be out here just digging this thing by hand, doing it differently, and sure, not as well, you know, it's nice to put a water line in below frost line so you don't have to blow it out, but it might not be as well, but it's gonna be great, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna bring water out to the garden. And I feel like personally, right now in this time, many of us are wrestling with our expectations. You know, we expected the summer to look a certain way or the future to look a certain way, either weeks of it or months of it or years of it or whatever. And you know, times are changing right now. Those expectations are quickly unraveling and a new reality is coming into place. I know not for everybody, but for some of us, you know, this has been an abrupt change, and I feel like the challenge really is just to be able to roll with it.
Thousands of youngsters throughout the nation are being inoculated. No serum has been found completely effective against the disease as yet. Hospitals in Tokyo are filled with the stricken children. The epidemic, also in India and the Philippines, is causing concern to health authorities around the world.
So I'm just burying a bit of the line. That is because I need some weight on it as I'm going to spool this guy out. It's still cold and kind of kinked up. It's nice if you can leave this stuff in the hot, like sun, and it'll kind of get more squishy and soft. But this stuff's kinked, it's going to be pretty stiff, and it's going to take some tugging to fill the trench. Now typically you might think you want to keep the dirt out of the line, but in this case I'm just going to hook it up to the hose initially and blow it out before I put any screens on it or anything. I'm just gonna flip it on and blow it out. Oh, look at that. That's awesome. All right, cool. So the line's all blown out. I just need to shut it off and then I'll put that top on there. We got PEX coming in, teed off here. So this is my first hose bib. This is gonna be my main one for my hoses. They're all gonna come out here. And obviously this is pretty good access to the garden, so I can do one branch tree this way and one this way. And then I've got it teed off over here to the sink. This guy is on a drop ear elbow. If you haven't used one of those, they're kind of what you typically use if you're putting in a shower head. It's nice because you can just screw it in. All right, let's fire it up and see how it works. And then back here, really straight up, I just have a PEX to male fitting right there, and then just a length of hose. This is a piece of hose I had around for a while. It's got a female end on there that I just put on, and then a quick coupler over here. All right, so that's pretty sweet. That's holding pressure. I don't see any leaks or anything. Nice thing about the quick coupler is that you can pop it on and off when you turn this frost-proof tap off. You know, it siphons back. Instead of sucking your whole hose out, you can just pop the quick release and only drain the water that's in the unit. I've got one tap over here just if I need water in the barn. All right, just checking for leaks. Looks pretty tight. This is my elbow, my shark bite. These guys sometimes leak, but it's doing fine. And got water going on. And then this is the sink. Excellent. All right, thanks for checking out this first stage of getting water out in the garden. I think there might be a few tune-ups here. Let me know what you think. I think I might wrap this guy with like some old tire or something like that, just to protect this hose. You know, if you're coming in the gate here front with a wheelbarrow or something, I don't want to be banging into that. So that'll take a little bit of protection, and maybe a clamp over here. If you've got a pandemic garden and you want to get on my map, I'm trying to do like a zip code based map. Map of the world, map of North America, something like that, marking other people who are gardening on a large or small scale with a particular mind to try and get through these crazy times. Hit me up with a comment or a message or an instant message or something, just letting me know that you've got a garden and what your zip code is, or any geolocational data. I'll put it on my map and maybe we'll set up some kind of network or something. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. This is my dog compost system, pretty technical stuff. You get the first stage, second stage, and then third stage is dogs. So, you know, you put them in here and they help to compost, kind of till and move around and all that kind of stuff. Come on, dogs, come on, hop out of there. Come on, come on, come on, hop on, come on, come on. Good job. You want some? Yeah. You get dog bowl for you guys out here.